Hey there, this is Gabriel, product manager for Runner SaaS, and I'm super excited to have Joy, our staff engineer, join me today. And we are going through our iteration plan for 16.4. Let me quickly share my screen and then gonna talk through. So in case you didn't follow the last iteration plans, Runner SaaS is the group where we host runners for GitLab. So if you're using GitLab.com, you're able to use our services. Currently, our product portfolio includes SaaS runners on Linux, GPU-enabled SaaS runners, macOS SaaS runners in beta, and Windows SaaS runners. Yeah, our one-year plan is we have released GPU-enabled SaaS runners. We have also added more powerful compute to Linux SaaS runners, and currently we're working on macOS. So for 16.4, we have super exciting changes coming because we are putting the last puzzle pieces into place for finally, hopefully, reaching our GA status for macOS. And there has been a lot of things in the past that we worked on and that I talked about. What this finally does is it allows our users to reliably build, test, and deploy any features for the Apple ecosystem using these macOS one-time machines. You'll get a fully isolated runtime environment where you can run any jobs, and then you can build, as I said, for Apple ecosystem that includes iOS apps, macOS apps, but also watchOS and all of these other things that are done within macOS. That's about it from my side, and I'm happy to hand over to Joe to talk a bit about exact priorities.
Hey, so Mac runners have been in beta for a while, and we're really excited to get them to GA. And there's a lot of small things that we need to do to support runners at GA, not just make them work, but also make sure that we are aware of the performance, we know how to respond, we check the safety, the isolation, and there's a whole production readiness process that GitLab has, where we take all the best practices, everything we've learned about how to run a service reliably, safely in production, and kind of made a really comprehensive checklist. And we've gone through this and we've been sort of knocking these things out one by one. Had a security engineer look at what we're doing, make sure it's okay. And we've gotten to the point now where I think that there's just a few things left that we can knock out in this one iteration. And so our goal here is to get to GA. And I can tell you what a few of these specific things are, which are listed here. One of the interesting things about Mac runners is they're on AWS. So, and all of the rest of our infrastructure is on GCP. So that we have a VPN tunnel that connects the two that allows us to safely and securely put the jobs into AWS runners and bring the logs and artifacts back. And we want to make sure that stays up and running. And it has 4 times redundancy. So there's a really good, it's reliable. But of course, with any reliable system, you need to double down on monitoring, because you only notice something's really wrong when your last line of defense disappears. So we're going to monitor it. We have a lot of this in place already for GCP, but some of this is new infrastructure like the AWS stuff. So there's a little bit of extra work to make sure that we wire that into our monitoring and alerting systems. We also want to speed up some of the image downloading process. This is actually more around being able to update the images. In addition to, one of the unique things about Mac is we need to provide an image that has a lot of the tools that are built in. So we've actually partnered with the mobile DevOps team, and they actually are building the job images for us. They have a lot more domain knowledge about what needs to go in these images. And so a big part of that is, a big part of bringing this to GA is making sure that we have a nice pipeline where our mobile DevOps team can recognize that you want a new library, can build the image, and it can deploy to production without us, the runner team, really needing to get involved. So we have that in place. That was a big important part of making this GA. There's a bunch of little things like data access for the S3 bucket. You know, like I said, this is kind of new AWS infrastructure, so we've got to get all these things in place. There's just a few questions that came up during the reliability, things that like what happens when, we lose the VPN and then it comes back, or like just make sure that nothing gonna goes a little weird. So we're gonna run a few manual tests, like rebooting this component and then this one and disconnecting and just kind of make sure that we don't see any scenario in which, we'd have scalability problems. It's been running for a while. It's pretty stable. I'm actually pretty pleased with it so far. Um, and there's a few other things to like add status pages, and we have some playbooks we want to put in place so that, both us and the SREs can engage with this. Just standard running a service at a GA level stuff. We're also releasing a new virtualization framework. We were using Tart, but now we're just going to use Apple's virtualization framework directly. We've implemented that, and we're just in the process of rolling it out. Small performance improvements, just little things that we noticed, like, disabling Gatekeeper. I mentioned the image build process that we have, how we have partnered with a mobile DevOps team. We want to make sure that that is a reproducible environment so that, if anything happens, like our build machine fails, we could just regenerate it with Terraform. So we're going to move that into our staging environment and out of our sandbox. It's really nothing that affects the customer other than just making sure that what we have here is a stable, easy to support service so that we can focus on responding quickly to any bug that comes up, monitoring and making sure things are up and running. And there's that's really just about it for like getting Mac to GA. One of the really exciting things about this too is not only are we getting Mac to GA, we're also doing it on a new set of infrastructure called Fleeting, which is our replacement for Docker Autoscaler. So simultaneously, we've started dogfooding and stabilized the AWS plugin for our Fleeting infrastructure. So this represents actually kind of a double set of work, which is really great. So you'll see this continuing to give benefits to the runner ecosystem beyond just Mac runners. So that's the deal. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. Also for touching again on us dogfooding everything that the runner team is doing, because we are not really talking about this in the runner SaaS iteration plan so far. Great. Thank you for kicking off this iteration with me, and then see you next time. Bye.